Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Edge. I see the chat is already active with we are Brian Mitchell days away from NFL kickoff, otherwise known as Terrell Davis days away. Put your favorite number 30 in the NFL in the chat. Hit the like button. Welcome to the show. We've already got a ton of picks. Bradley Jacobs says, good morning, EE family. I cashed my best bet in 3 minutes yesterday only to be outdone by A-Mag's first batter over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Of course, that was Ellie De La Cruz. Let's look to see how we did yesterday. Yeah, we're going to take this every time. Mets Cardinals over 9 was the only miss, but the Mets did their job. Cardinals couldn't put any runs against Manea. We go 4-0 the rest of the way, though, 4-1 overall, including a couple of plus money plays. We love this from A-Mags and Sniper. I thought it was a good play by Zach. Almost went 5-0. Let's try to go undefeated today, perhaps, with the stars of today's show. We've got the dream team in here, folks. Sniper's been on fire. Mike McClure, and what is going on with Buckets?
Oh, my goodness.
Fireworks. Did you know that was going to happen, Buckets? I feel like you were as surprised as I was.
No, was that because I did a thumbs up? Is that like a – oh!
Wow.
No way.
Here's the thing. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you for listening. Please review the podcast too. But watching us on YouTube, the experience is so much more enhanced. I can't believe that is even possible. I guess I'm too old school to realize that that's probably super easy to do. But Sniper, you have the same confused look on your face that I do.
I just wondered how many times he's going to do it now, because he's going to do it like 10 times during the show. It's going to be incredibly distracting. But anyway, happy Mike Brown days away. I'm gonna say a bear every single time now.
I respect that. I usually say a Washingtonian with Brian Mitchell, number 30. Also played for the Eagles and a couple of other teams, I think. Mike McClure, do you have a number 30 off the top of your head? It's a bit of an obscure number.
I do. We'll go Todd Gurley. Short career, excellent athlete, great college football player. College football 18 days away. Let's go Archie Manning.
And oh, wow, there you go. Don't forget that the College Football Futures show that we did on CBS Sports Network I think it was last Thursday, that's in your feed, and it's in your podcast feed. It's in the YouTube feed at SportsLine. That stuff isn't old. Like, you need to go listen to that, because some of the futures that Mackenzie Brooks, our SportsLine model, Mike McClure, and Chip Patterson put out, that was one of my favorite shows I've done this entire year. I thought the pace was good. The picks were good. There was a lot of variety in terms of what futures you might want to play versus futures maybe you want to lay off of. I really like that show. I encourage everybody to go back and watch it. All right. The fireworks display has me thrown off. It compels me. By the way, the over-under is 7.5. Double thumbs up from Buckets. I'm leaning to the over at plus money. Buckets, we got a couple of soccer games. We got a lot to talk about. We've got the Olympics, we've got soccer, we've got MLB. I've got a golf play to give out. Of course, the early wedges tonight as well. There's a lot going on. Let's kick it off, no pun intended, with 2 soccer plays.
Well, before I get into the 2 plays, I have 2 little announcements here. First of all, I'm a little bit sick, so I'm going to do my best to get through this. As always, I'm sick with something. And second, you might notice the new background here, Sia. I found a mouse in my bedroom this morning, so I have given up that half of the apartment. I understand that no longer belongs to me. That is the mouse's domain. So every day you see me with this background, it means that I have lost that fight again with that mouse. So just a heads up. But let's talk some Champions League, because we have some really good games this afternoon and some teams that we have cashed on already this season, time and time again. We're going to start with Azerbaijani side Karabag hosting Ludogorets Razgrad, and we're going the exact same bet we've taken every time for the past 3 years when Karabag plays at home in Champions League. You take their team total. Karabag over 1.5 team total at -110 is an absolute gift of a line, considering nobody likes playing in Azerbaijan. This is a tremendously difficult place to travel to and to play at, and teams historically do terrible when playing at Karabag's home stadium. Ludogorets' team got a little bit gutted defensively during the offseason as well. I love the over. I love both teams to score, but I love the team total more than anything in this first match. Then for our second match is, again, another team we've cashed on doing the exact same thing already twice this season. Fenerbahce taking on Lille, and we're taking both teams to score again at -115. When I woke up this morning and saw these two were playing, I was prepared to give a long speech about how I know -175 is a bit juicy, but XYZ. This line should not be -115 ever when Fenerbahce is playing. I know Jose Mourinho is there now and he tends to play a bit more defensive, but we haven't seen that when he's hosting this Turkish side. Lille coming off a long break could be a little bit tricky here. But again, this is a match to where if it ends 2-2, not shocked in the slightest, Sia.
All right. I like it. Is that pronounced Lille? Is that how you pronounced it?
Oh, I've been saying Lille for years, so I hope it's
Lille.
that.
No, it's probably Lily. You're probably right.
Okay.
My sister's name is Lily. She lives in Australia, and I noticed somebody has a bet on Australia in the chat, some sort of parlay. So, and I've got an Australian-oriented pick later in the show. A lot of Australia going on here, but we'll go with Lille is the play there. We're going to go to the Olympics for a SportsLine pick, folks. That was 3 thumbs up, by the way. We're 4.5 away from making a determination as to whether we hit the over-under. We're going with the USA today, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We got women's Olympic soccer. This is the SportsLine pick. USA minus 110. Oh, they're going to beat Germany. That's what we think, at least. This is the semifinals. Again, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That means it starts in less than 2 hours. We're going with USA. If you want to make that pick or any of the picks you're about to hear, any of those soccer picks you just heard from Buckets, well, go to BetMGM. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10 and you'll receive up to $1,500 instantly. If your bet loses with bonus code EDGE, that's bonus code EDGE, EDGE. Folks, we got a lot more picks to get to, and we're going to hear about them right after this message from our partners. We are back on the Early Edge presented by BetMGM, and Bradley Jacobs and AGNZLS8 says, Buckets, you're right. You probably knew you were right anyway, but it is Lille after all. So you got that pronunciation correct. Speaking of being correct, Mike, I don't know if you're going to be correct on this or not, but I know when the Rangers looked, the Texas Rangers, that is, when they looked down and out, from a playoff standpoint, you were like, yeah, let's take the Rangers to make the playoffs at like plus 500 or some crazy number. That was just a couple of weeks ago. You like this team, and it appears that at plus money, you like them again today after a really, a walk-off fashion yesterday in terms of how they won yesterday. So you expect them to continue that run.
I do. First of all, it's an incredibly important series for them. So yes, I'm going to be on the Texas Rangers here. Played them plus 108 this morning. I made them minus 108, a 4% edge, should be 52%. So should be minus 108. And ultimately, I think that's where the market's going to close. I think it's going to close exactly like yesterday. Texas opens as the home dog. Market moves it to essentially even on both sides. This game here, Tyler Mahle is the big story. I've been looking forward to him returning and making his Rangers debut. I love that they did not rush him back despite some of the early season struggles with this team. He was able to get in 6 minor league rehab starts. I know he hasn't pitched in 15 months at this level. Looked good in those rehab starts, though. Now facing this Astros team that is slumping a bit. They've lost 6 of their last 8 games, and Framber Valdez is a lot more name than game at this particular point. I think he has struggled significantly, and it's because of the hard contact. Career high 48% hard hit rate, almost all due to his leading pitch, the sinking fastball. Throws it about 50% of the time. Been absolutely crushed on that pitch. Now he has a negative park shift in a very important game. Again, this game is super important for both sides. They only have 2 games left in this series the rest of the way. So if the Rangers can hold steady and win a game like this, definitely on their way to make that playoff push. But for me here, I think Mahle was just simply a little undervalued. Loved his pitch arsenal. Looked great in the rehab starts. I think he's going to be good in this spot. And then you look at the bullpen usage. Hader had to throw 28 pitches last night for the Astros. I think he will be unavailable in tonight's game. So this is a great spot for me for the Rangers. I think that they're still undervalued because of how they started and played throughout the season, but the lineup is a lot more healthy now. Played them here plus 108.
All right. Absolutely love the play. I love when we have these futures and we can kind of, without even betting on them, sometimes keep an eye on how the futures play out. I think that's part of the reason I like the college football show so much, because relative to the NFL, I don't bet. I bet college football weekly, but I don't bet as much volume wise. And so some of these teams, I'm going to take the future and just kind of like let it ride out without having to bet them week to week. So that Rangers bet at plus 500, that's something I don't have to bet on the Rangers every day like we're all doing today. I can just kind of monitor how they do. That goes for some of the other futures we have in MLB as well. Sniper, I need your response to this because Eric David says Sniper is disgusted with the Buckets pyrotechnics. He's rooting for the Mouse. Your response, sir?
Yes, that's absolutely true. I have no argument whatsoever. Come on.
The mouse grows in size every time the fireworks go off.
Yes.
I start hearing like a banging on the door from the room over.
Bradley Jacobs sends us a reminder that Champions League bet split Malmo versus, I think that's PAOK. Both teams to score minus 158 and Malmo versus PAOK over 2.5 at minus 130. Buckets, did I screw up that pronunciation?
No, I think you're good, man. Sounded good to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's Bradley's reminder. And you know what's interesting is the chat seems to be all over the Orioles, on the game line, on the run line, things of that nature. Well, that's interesting because about 30 minutes before the show, this is either good news or bad news for the chat here because I've been a little cold in Major League Baseball. I like the Orioles. I was debating whether to take the first 5 like I normally do or take the full game. Now, the full game makes a lot of sense that their bullpen's way better than the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. So I completely get taking the full game at around minus 140. I just really wanted to isolate Chris Bassett and Grayson Rodriguez. That's what I usually do with the first 5. So I paid a little bit more juice just to isolate those first 5 innings. I'm taking the Orioles. These two pitchers faced each other. I shouldn't say faced each other, faced the other team about a week ago, 7-8 days ago in both cases. And Grayson was pretty good as expected, and Bassett's been falling off, and he got lit up as you might expect. I think the lefties in the Orioles lineup are going to get to Bassett. Grayson Rodriguez has been very good. So this is just one of those where the Orioles are ascending, that they're hitting the ball, as we all know. And I think this is a great matchup against Chris Bassett. So I'm taking first 5 money line Orioles minus 145. I think the chat's going to agree with me on that, again, for better or for worse. But if you want to take the full game, that's great. I'm not going to take the run line at plus money, but if somebody wants to take that as well, I don't absolutely hate it. I do expect the Orioles to win this game, however. Now we're going to move to the Wyndham Championship. I'm going to give out another pick. I gave out a couple of outrights, a short shot and a long shot yesterday. I've got another 2 or 3 outrights to go on the early wedge tonight, but I want to give out a nationality play. Top Oceania. Oceania is basically top Australian, top New Zealander. They just kind of group a bunch of islands together. Those are 2 of the major ones that are grouped in top Oceania. I like Cam Davis here. He's going against Minwoo Lee, Ryan Fox, and Aaron Baddeley. I don't think Aaron Baddeley really factors in. I mean, he could have a good tournament. This is going to be kind of a birdie fest. Some of these lower tier guys could potentially have good tournaments, but I'm not a big fan of Aaron Baddeley in general. I think the guys to watch out for are Ryan Fox and Minwoo Lee, but this course takes out their strengths. I don't think Minwoo Lee and Ryan Fox off the tee are going to have the advantage that they normally have. And Cam Davis's history here at the Wyndham Championship has been very, very good. The one problem he's had lately in his recent form is with the putter. But when you go back and look at how he's putted on this particular course in this particular tournament, it's been very, very good. So clearly very comfortable with the greens here. The ball striking has been there, the accuracy, the approach, even the around the green play, which may play into this tournament because Tropical Storm Debbie's probably going to factor in. We got some wind and rain, things of that nature. I think Cam Davis is going to handle that quite well. So give me Cam Davis at plus 175 as top Oceania. You can get that across all your sports books. I will say this, some sports books are late to put out the nationality plays. So if your sports book doesn't have it, it'll probably be out in the next 3 to 4 hours. So just be patient, look for that. You're going to get a similar number regardless. Mike McClure, before we get to Sniper's picks, I want to ask you, have you already on SportsLine, have you already kind of put out your outright picks or any picks whatsoever as it relates to the Wyndham Championship, knowing I know that it's Tuesday morning early?
Yes. So they're not published yet. They will publish almost probably 20 minutes after this show. But I will tell you, near the top middle-ish range, I still like Aaron Rye, Davis Thompson, longer shot, Victor Perez.
Yeah, I like Aaron Rye quite a bit, and Victor Perez might be a pretty strong DFS play for me. I'll say Davis Thompson was popping for me, and in some of the stuff I looked at, I just decided not to play him, but I like all those picks. Buckets, I got to ask you something. Before we get to Sniper's picks here, it appears that someone look at Sniper. He's exasperated. I think he knows where I'm going with this, and it upsets him, and I totally get it. Buckets, somebody was looking for a home run prop. Can you help?
Yeah, real quick. What color are the Braves jerseys, Matt? Or like
Depends on the day.
Depends on what
Oh
night
no,
place now. Yeah, you could get probably navy blue. Let's go with navy blue.
navy blue. Let me see if I've gotten. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we're gonna go blue because we're gonna be going with the Braves because I just double checked for everyone and our. Oh,
Go ahead. Actually, go ahead. I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
okay, I double checked this by Googling, is this happening? And Google said yes. So that's the length of my research here. Jorge Soler is back in the lineup for the Atlanta Braves. So you know the guy who first made my home run props famous is the guy we have to bet again here. So yeah, I'm seeing plus 320 on MGM currently.
McClure, your response, did you have something to say about?
I like Soler. I'm fine with the pick. I like Soler.
What were you going to say, though?
That's it. I was going to talk about Soler. I didn't know if you were aware that he was on the Braves.
That's fair.
Matt Snyder, your response?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with that. I was going to throw out, somebody asked for a home run prop. I was going to throw out Teoscar Hernandez. He's been very hot since he won the home run derby. Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies tonight. He's been shaky for a little bit here, last 6 weeks or so. So that was what I was going to throw out there.
All right. We've got some picks thrown out. Sniper, before we get to your two picks, Steve Folkert says Yankees money line plus Phillies over 3.5 team total as a parlay. That's plus 128. I don't hate that play. And we have Cam Davis top 20. I think that's Kylie Reynolds. I think that's like around plus 180. And I'm considering that as well. I actually like the top Oceana value a little bit better because he just has to beat those three guys. But you'll see on the early wedge tonight, I really do like Cam Davis. And Stewie says he loves Brian Harmon. Mike McClure, go ahead.
Just be a little careful with Yankees if you're making parlays, building that there. I think that game is going to get postponed today.
Speaking of good call out, speaking of being postponed, I might have mentioned it, Tropical Storm Debbie, that is going to affect the golf tournament. So we do need to kind of wait and monitor certain things. I don't know that there's going to be an advantage to one wave or the other, but something we need to monitor. We'll update you on the early wedge tonight at 7 o'clock. And speaking of, it's me, it's Patrick McDonald, it's Eric Cohen. We're talking all things Wyndham Championship. A lot of implications here, a lot of narratives, a lot of people trying to get inside that top 70 to make the FedEx Cup playoffs, which start next week. We're going to talk about all of those narratives, but more importantly, all of our favorite bets. You'll hear about Cam Davis. You might hear a little bit about Johnny Vegas, who I mentioned yesterday. And, of course, Billy Horschel. You may hear some Aaron Rye that Mike McClure just brought up. A lot to talk about. So make sure you join us on this very channel at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. A very good show, a very chill show. We try to incorporate some pop culture, try to make fun of EC the best way we can. Let's in his parlaying. Sniper, let's get to some more baseball, though. You've got a side and you've got a prop for us.
Yeah, I'd mostly been focusing on team level stuff recently, which yesterday it was a pitcher to get the win and a team total. Those are still team centric, but something really caught my eye, and that was Vlad Guerrero Jr. against Grayson Rodriguez. Vlad got off to a slow start, but he's been on fire for quite a while now. And if I went to just his last 35 games, he's hitting .399 with an .826 slugging percentage. We're going to go over the 1.5 hit run RBI here because in those last 35 games, he has 55 hits, 33 runs, 41 RBIs. I did the math. That's an average of 3.69 per game on this prop. And for some reason, it's 1.5 instead of 2.5. We do have to pay a lot of juice, but I think it's worth it because it's only 1.5 here. And since the All-Star break, he's actually averaging 4 on this prop per game, which is ridiculous. In his career against Grayson Rodriguez, he's 5 for 14 with a double and a home run. He just saw him on July 31st. He's better at home than on the road. It is at home. I really love Vlad Guerrero Jr. in this spot. Even if you like the Orioles, Vlad can still do some damage. Also, going to go back to the well here and pick on the White Sox again. Hey, they've lost 21 games in a row. And in their last 9 wins, they've only lost by 1 run once. Last 9 losses, I should say. Did I say wins? Losses. They only lose. So, if in the last 9 games we played the run line against them every single time, we'd be 8-1 and we'd be up a lot. So I'm going to go back to the well here. I do think it's starting to get risky because they're probably going to win a game at some point, and I'm going to predict when that win is going to happen. It's going to come Friday when Garrett Crochet takes him out against Jameson Taillon against my Cubs. The White Sox are going to beat the Cubs on Friday and end up in a tie for the longest losing streak in baseball history at 23 games. That's how it's going to end. A's are not that bad at home, 28-29 at home. White Sox are 10-48 on the road. This one seems elementary. I like it at the plus money for the A's to win by multiple runs. A few other notes. Clayton Kershaw under 4.5 Ks is plus money. I stayed away from it because 2 starts ago he struck out 6. He still has it in him to miss some bats, but he didn't strike out anybody against the Padres last time out, and his stuff did not look good at all. So if you like that one, it's plus money. And also, if you want to keep riding the Bobby Witt Jr. freight train right now, it's against Brian Bayo at home. Bayo's having a rough year. Witt's great at home. You might as well look at some Bobby Witt props.
Very, very interesting. Some extra notes from the sniper. No fireworks, though. There we go. I think we're up to 5 at least. And by the way, everybody's appreciating 2 things, Buckets. One is Japan says he wants the dice back. But the other thing is, like, you not only have the pyrotechnics with the fireworks, but that sign behind you. Have we ever seen that before? Why don't you showcase that more often?
You've never seen it because it only hooks up to a USB, and I haven't had a USB charger that like worked until about 6 hours ago, 12 hours ago. What time is it? Yeah, last night. So it's a new sign sent from a fan on Twitter, though, which is really cool. I don't remember his name. This was actually sent to the P.O. box during that whole escapade. Yeah, it's like an iron wrought carved sign with buckets and a little soccer ball and boot right there.
That is cool. Unfortunately, a mouse is going to chew through that wire here in a few minutes.
Oh, you're right.
That's kind of a thing. What's interesting, Buckets, is that many months ago when you did the P.O. Box thing, people were like, Buckets is such a genius. He's just getting free stuff from everybody. And I thought it would be like little trinkets and nothing like to really showcase it. Here's somebody sending you that. That's fantastic. Mike McClure, go ahead.
Yes, anyone that sends Buckets mouse traps, the first 5 of you that send them, send me a receipt and I'll reimburse you.
Yes.
Oh, that's just so fantastic. That is fantastic. Lee Brown says Alonso and Lindor home runs tonight. Not as a parlay, but he thinks one or both are going to go deep. That's interesting. David Kleindler says Mal under 4.5 strikeouts. That's his play. And then a lot of you are saying, I'll see you tonight on the early wedge at 7 o'clock. Well, we will see you there in the chat. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I've got a couple of plays. Of course, one of these is for golf, so it doesn't start until Thursday. But I've got Orioles first 5 money line tonight at -145. Heavy juice there. You can take the full game there. I know a lot of people like that. That's right around -140. And then, of course, for the Wyndham Championship, I've got Cam Davis +175 over Minwoo Lee, Fox, and Baddeley. That, of course, is top Oceania. Buckets, Karabag, team total over 1.5, -110. And Leo, Fenerbahce, both teams to score, -115. Nailed it. Rangers, money line +108. That's Mike McClure's play. And the sniper on fire lately, Vlad Guerrero Jr., over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs, also at -145. And the A's -1.5 at +110. Our sports line pick, it starts in an hour and 35 minutes. Olympic women's soccer USA money line -110. Let's go USA. Let's go Olympics. Let's go picks. Let's try to go 4-1 or whatever it is and 1. We had Amags in the chat. Hopefully you asked him some questions. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat, for being so active, for hitting the like button, for throwing out your picks. Hopefully some of these hit, and we'll call you out tomorrow on this show. Really appreciate all the participation. Again, 4-1 yesterday. Let's try to have another great day today. Let's cash some tickets on behalf of Jake the Snake on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. On behalf of Buckets, Mike McClure, the sniper, and the mouse. I'm the Counselor of Cash. This is the Early Edge. We'll see you tonight at 7 for the Early Wedge. We rest our case.